Informational interviews, or coffee chats, are actually a double-edged sword if you think about it. Leave a strong positive impression on the other person, and they're likely to help you down the line. But at the same time, making some seemingly small mistakes might actually kill your chances at landing that role. In this video, I'm gonna first share 5 common mistakes you want to avoid before, during, and after conducting informational interviews. Then I'm gonna walk you through some of the exact wording I would say to appear composed and confident in front of these experienced professionals. Finally, I'm gonna share a Google Sheets template I made so you can keep track of all your coffee chats. So let's get started. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jeff, and we're all about practical career and interview tips. So if you're a current student or young professional, consider subscribing for more actionable content. Most people might think that the worst case scenario following an informational interview is to have the interviewee forget about you or not be able to help in any way. But if you leave a particularly negative impression, your reputation at that target company might be at stake. Diving into the first mistake you want to avoid making: not clarifying a time or topic commitment before the coffee chat. By not mentioning the specific amount of time you want to take up and the topic of the conversation beforehand, you come off as unprepared at best and disorganized at worst. You don't want to ask for 15 minutes, then keep them for 40, or scheduling an entire hour but running out of things to say in 10 minutes. A good rule of thumb is to ask for and stick to 30 minutes and schedule more sessions if the conversation goes well. Topic-wise, you don't want to ask them to talk about something too generic. You want to list out specific areas you'd like to touch on in that initial request email for the informational interview. Instead of something like, "I'd love to learn about your experiences in management consulting," say, "I'd love to learn more about your move from management consulting to the sales team at Google. Specifically, your thought process as to why you made the switch and the challenges you faced when making that transition." Not only does this impress the other party with the background research you've clearly done beforehand, but this prompts them to come up with answers that are meaningful to you. Case in point, this message is actually from a viewer of mine. She asked me how I shifted from sales to product marketing. This question isn't bad, but an even better way to phrase this question is to ask what skills are needed to successfully go from the sales team to the marketing team. That subtle change in wording would prompt me to answer with specific skill sets rather than broad answers like, "Oh, I was at the right place at the right time, I worked on the right projects," etc. Moving on to mistake number 2 to avoid during your informational interview: being too polite and putting up with lengthy, irrelevant answers. Let's be honest, many professionals who say yes to informational interviews enjoy talking about the experiences. They enjoy talking about themselves. Not me though, I make these videos purely to help people and not at all for the attention. What? That lie was too obvious? Too obvious? Okay. So it's easy for them to go off on a tangent that's not necessarily relevant for you and risks wasting precious time for both of you. To bring them back onto the topics you want to learn more about without making it awkward, you can say something like, "It's extremely impressive how you were able to find that solution given limited resources. I'm just trying to be mindful of time here because I know you have to go in 10 minutes. Would you mind talking a bit more about the skills you developed while working on that project?" Notice I first acknowledged the story they were telling by summarizing it, then mentioned I don't want to waste their time before smoothly transitioning to what I really want to hear. If you enjoyed those first 2 tips, help the channel by dropping a like. I also have a Facebook group where I share exclusive weekly tips, so consider joining if you haven't already. I'll link it down below. Mistake number 3, not bringing something other than your smartphone for note-taking purposes. While informational interviews are more casual by nature and can take place face-to-face or over the phone, taking notes shows your counterpart that you're taking what they say seriously, and this buys you goodwill. Bring a notepad also has the added benefit of having your pre-prepared coffee chat questions on there, so you can refer to them just in case you get too nervous and forget some of the questions you were gonna ask. There are 2 small hacks I can share here. Number 1, if you're having an informational interview over the phone and the other person can't see you, you can actually pause in between their answers and say something like, "Sorry, I'm just jotting down some notes about project A you just mentioned. Hope you don't mind." And obviously, take the notes. Number 2, if you're meeting face-to-face or a video chat, take out your notepad and ask for permission to take notes 5 to 10 minutes into the chat. You do this because if you start taking notes right at the beginning, it comes off as too formal. And also, saying something like, "Sorry, I just want to make sure I capture this point you're making," sometime into the conversation, it comes off as more spontaneous and shows that you're really eager to learn. Mistake number 4, not following up with your professional connections on a regular basis. This is by far the most common mistake and the mistake with the biggest consequences. I say the most common mistake because, like going to the gym, it's hard to follow up with your connections regularly. I get it, you're busy studying, working, looking for the next opportunity. It's also the biggest mistake because had you followed up with that right professional consistently, you could well be top of mind when the right opportunity does open up. To help you with this, I made an extremely simple networking spreadsheet on Google Sheets so you can keep track of your professional network. I'm not going to deep dive into this spreadsheet because this video is long enough, but I'm going to link it down below, so feel free to make a copy and play around with it. Essentially, the Snapshot tab is where you keep track of all your connections. You have their name, role, company, location, last contact date, and some high-level comments to remind you what your last conversation was about. Then, for each connection, you can have a separate tab that opens up where you can keep track of all the notes that you took during all your interactions with this professional, be it over email or a phone call. Now, you can input everyone you talk to into this tricks, but instead of trying to keep track of hundreds of professionals, I recommend you prioritize and select 3. Just 3 people you want to continue having that relationship with. Then mark your calendar and drop them a note once a month, once a quarter, or once every 6 months. Because like building any habit, consistency is key. If they're used to receiving communication from you regularly, even though it's once every half year, it's not going to be too jarring or aggressive if you ask for their help once in a while. If you're worried about what to write in those emails, keep them updated on your job search and career journey. Let them know whether you followed their advice from your last conversation. Share information that they might be interested in. Add value. Another one of my viewers actually made an entire presentation where she analyzed my videos and gave me helpful tips and advice. That was amazing, and I can tell you right now, if she asked for an hour of my time, I would happily give it to her. The key here is to remember informational interviews are designed for developing relationships rather than landing jobs. By the way, I know the spreadsheet is super simple, so comment down below if you played around with it and have any suggestions for improvement. Or if you just want to thank me, I'm totally okay with that as well. Mistake number 5, having a weak ending to your informational interview. People tend to remember the beginning of conversations, hence the reason why first impressions are so important, and the end, because they'll be thinking about it for a brief period of time following your chat. Huh, that was a nice conversation. He really knew his stuff. So what you want to do when you're thanking them for their time at the end of the coffee chat is to point out 1 or 2 specific things from the conversation that they had talked about, preferably referencing the notes that you took. This conveys to them that you were actively listening this entire time instead of thinking about the next impressive question to ask or thinking about how to get that internal referral. In short, this shows them you were genuinely engaged throughout the entire conversation. Last but not least, a mistake that I'm not going to cover today is asking weak and irrelevant questions during informational interviews, and that's because I already have a video on that exact topic. So check it out if you haven't already. Alright, there you have it. 5 informational interview mistakes that might kill your chances of landing your dream role. Please consider subscribing to get the latest practical tips, and let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions. See you on the next video, and in the meantime, have a great one.